Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to be sharing with you our homeschool family subjects for this year. And if you're new to my channel, I have 5 children that I homeschool. And the way that we do homeschool is that our children work individually on their core subjects, reading, writing, and math. And that is by grade level. And then all of the other subjects, like social studies, like science, character development, poetry, language, literature, we do together as a family. And we do this together in the afternoons. So what we do is we rotate through these subjects. Every day we'll do a different subjects. Some of these only get done twice a month, so it just depends. So we don't do all of these every day. We break it out throughout the week so that we are doing different ones. And it's been working really well because if you are a homeschool mom of multiples, you know how hard it is to have children do 5th grade science, 7th grade science, 9th grade science, and you have all of these levels of different sciences or different history, and then how you're spreading yourself thin and you're not being able to meet the need of every child. So that is why I do this, and that's why a lot of us who homeschool do family subjects, because we're able to sit together in a round table and cover all of the subjects together with all of the children, regardless of age. Science is science. History is history. Let me give you an example. So this year we are doing our Spangled Story, and this says it's for 1st to 4th grade. Now I do have a child that's 10 years old. So according to this curriculum, she is too old for this curriculum. But the way that I look at it is that history is history regardless of age. So all of the events that are happening, all of the people that she's learning about, regardless of her age, she needs to learn this. So we do it together as a family, and it works out well. And I can make it easy, intermediate, or hard depending on what I do. So for these, the children sometimes keep a notebook, and in these notebooks I have them write definitions. Sometimes I have them write reports or do interactive notebook pages. And it just depends on the child. If it's just a young child like 5 years old, I might have her just color something related to the lesson, and I'll glue it onto her notebook. If the child is a little older, I might have her answer some questions, write an essay. So as you can see, I can gear it towards the child's age, still using this as a spine. So all of these that you see here are spines. And the way that I do family subjects is just simply reading aloud. The power of reading aloud. And I always say that if you can do anything at all to get your child ahead in education, is to read aloud to them. It's wonderful. They're getting so much information, and they're bonding with you, and they're making these wonderful memories at home with you. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you what I have for each of the subjects. Now keep in mind, this is going to be different than what they do in public school. I have subjects here that are not taught in public school that I really want my children to learn, so that they can learn about culture, so that they can learn about character development, so that they can learn about faith and poetry. And all of the things that I have here are things that I think would be beneficial for my children to learn. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it a little closer. Now keep in mind that right now, everyone's looking at curriculum videos on YouTube. And so if you have already chosen your curriculum for this year, know that you can work with what you have. All curriculums have positive and negative points to them, and you just have to work with what you have and work with what your budget allows. And always remember to use your library, to use resources around you, ask around in your homeschool groups, to borrow curriculum, to trade and things of that nature. Because if you go out there and you just purchase all these books, it just may not be something that your budget allows. But you always use your community and your local libraries to help you with the books. All right, let me go ahead and bring it a little closer so that you can see what we got. Okay, so here we are with our family subjects, and these are our family subject bins that I keep on my homeschool shelf. And so let's start with the history and geography portion over here. And so for this basket, we are going to be sharing with you our history curriculum. So we are using, as I said, our Star Spangled Story, and this is for the history of the United States. And I'm taking a break from Story of the World to read all about American history this year. And this is a wonderful book. It has amazing illustrations. We're going to be using this book about 3 times a week. And I'm just going to be reading to the children from here. It has wonderful pictures. I just love the pictures. They're realistic pictures. And then at the end, they have lesson activities. They have review questions and hands-on history ideas. So we're definitely going to be answering all the review questions in their history notebooks. And I'm going to be doing some of the lesson activities as well if we have time. But basically, it's just reading and answering those few questions, like 4 or 5 questions at the end. So I'm going to really love going through this with my children. The curriculum also comes with other resources. It comes with rhythms and rhymes. So these are songs that they're going to be learning as well. It comes with a CD so that they can learn these songs. These are some of the songs mentioned in the book. It also comes with a timeline so that they can get a real picture of when these events took place. So this is a good way to see the big picture of things. Then the curriculum also brings the workbooks, the student workbooks. So I got 3 of them for each of my children. And so let me show you what it looks like inside. So it has each lesson, it has activities for each of the lessons. And so it makes it easy or hard. So here it says, draw the faces of people hearing Patrick Henry's speech at St. John's Church, or write a paragraph. So you could do either or. So it makes it easy or hard, so that you can use it with multiple children. And if you have older children that are beyond this subject, you could always have them write an essay or other more extensive things. But I think this is good to have so that they could have a little record of what they're doing in history. All right, so that's Not Grass History. That's what it's called. I'll link everything below in the description box, you guys, so that you know where we got these from. All right, so let's go over some of the other things that we're learning in history as well. Let me take these out. So we're learning also, let me take these out for a minute. All right, so the next things that we're learning about New Jersey history. And so we have this New Jersey reader. And so they're learning everything about New Jersey from when the Indians were here and all the important information about New Jersey. We're also learning about the branches of U.S. government. I like teaching them a little bit about civics every year. We're learning about We the People, civic values in America, all about the Constitution, other things that I think all citizens should know, responsibility, American values, and so on. Then for history, we are learning the 50 states. Last year, we memorized all of the 50 states' capitals. And this year, we're going to continue working on that, memorizing all the capitals again. And this time, we're going to be notebooking through each of the states. So I'm going to have them do a notebooking page with drawing the state, writing information about the state as we go through all of the states. And I can't wait to share that with you guys, our 50 states notebooking. Here's Jack again. Here is the spine that we're using for geography. It's called Everything You Need to Know About Geography. And it says homework because it's a reference guide for students and parents. But I'm going to be using it as a spine to teach my children different things about geography that I want them to learn. And then I'll delve in with library books. So this is just, I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'm going to be picking different subjects that I'm going to be teaching my children this year so that they can have a basic understanding about geography. All right, so that is all our history and geography resources. Let's move on to science and nature study. So for science, we are reading everything, again, like I said, is read aloud. So this is going to be our read aloud, our spine. So this is the Sassafras Science Adventures, Volume 1, Zoology. My oldest read all the Sassafras readers, and she loved them. And now my 7-year-old is reading them. And so since they love Sassafras so much, I went ahead and I will be reading this Zoology. So this is basically a novel, and it's going to teach them all about animals and all about zoology. And as I read them about the novel, they're going to be having this little logbook. Let me show you the logbook. This is the logbook. And so they're going to be making a little page of each animal. or whatever it is. Sometimes it's about a landform or the forest, rainforest. So they're going to have a log book of all the things that they're learning as they learn it. The curriculum also brings an activity guide that I can also use to dive deep into each of the subjects. I'm not going to be using it fully, but I like having this little activity guide so that I can, at least once a week, I want to delve into some of the activities as I am reading aloud from this Sassafras Science Adventures book. All right. The next thing we have is teaching the children about nature. So we are reading from this Handbook of Nature Study, and we've been using it for years now, and we love it. And this year, we're going to be doing climate and weather, trees, birds, wildflowers, garden flowers, and weeds from here. So basically, like I said before, it's just reading aloud to them. And it has some prompts that it prompts them to do outside in nature. So we're going to be keeping a little notebook as we read about these topics. We're going to be making a little notebook, a little nature notebook, as we explore outside as well. All right, so that's what we have for science and nature study for the kids. Now let's move on to Spanish. So we are raising our children bilingual. I am a native Spanish speaker, so for me it has been easier than for most. But I'm teaching my children to read. My two oldest already know how to read Spanish, but I am using this Nachos book, and this is how I learned how to read Spanish. And it's really basic, and it's very simple, and it also has handwriting that I have them do in their notebook. So at the same time, they're learning how to read, and they're also learning how to write. So this is good. And it has book 1 and book 2. And I also focus on reading a lot. So here I have some Spanish short stories. I also have so many books over here on the shelf. I have so many Spanish books that I read to them. Every day I'm reading Spanish as well as reading English. So it's really important that if you're teaching your child a second language, that you have them hear the language. If you cannot speak it, you have them listen to audiobooks or listen to other native speakers read. So here we have Spanish short stories for beginners. We have 52 weeks of family Spanish, and this is focusing on particular things for each week that you want them to focus on conversation-wise. Easy Spanish reader. And then the last resource, because I have a lot of resources in here, I want to share with you is this great one that I have here. And this is my first 1,000 words in Spanish, and I'm sure they have them for other languages. But basically it has pictures, and then it has the name in Spanish and in English. So they're able to see this. It's like a Pictionary, and they're able to see all the things by theme. And I think it's really good. The children are really learning all of the names of these things. And you can pick 1 page a week or 1 page a day, depending on the level of your children's Spanish. All right, so that's what we have for Spanish. All right, let's move on to faith and character. Now, I treat faith and character as if it was a subject in my home that science or history is that important to me. And I tell parents, if you want your children to have good character, good manners, etiquette, and have faith in God, this is something that you need to have a conscious effort to teach them about. It's not something that they're born with. So let me share with you guys what I have. So let's start over here with devotion. So in the morning, we are reading How Great Is Our God, and these are science devotions of God and science. And it's just great. It really captures their attention. They're learning about science, and then it ties it to God. And my children have loved it. We read the first version of this book last year, and this is the second version now that we're reading. Okay, so also we have, if I could ask God anything. So these are Bible answers for curious children, and it has what is faith, just a lot of different things. Did Jesus have any brothers and sisters? Did Jesus really walk on water? Why did Jesus come to earth? Who is Jesus? Just all the questions that children may want to know about God. How can I get to know God better? All the things. Then our core curriculum that we're using for Bible it's not really a curriculum. It's just the Bible made easy for kids. I'm just reading this aloud to them from the beginning, starting with Genesis And the way it's written, I love the way it's written. It's the simplicity. The simplicity is what I love about this. And so I'm going to be reading this to them. And I'm not sure if we're going to finish it this year, but we might have to do it in 2 years. A lot of the things that I have, I use it multiple years. So let's go on now to character development. So here we have, what do you stand for? And this is a guide to building character, forgiveness, citizenship, cooperation, honesty, fairness, responsibility, and caring. And so it has different activities in here for teaching these concepts, more ways to be honest, just different things. So we're going to dive in to each of these subjects. Then we have social skills activities for kids, exercises for making friends, talking and listening, and understanding social rules. Again, these are resources that I'm going to just take a little at a time. And it may take us 2 years to go through this. And that's okay, because my goal is not to overwhelm the child, but to give them little bits and pieces of information that they can use every year. Here we have a guide to manners and etiquette. And again, manners and etiquette is not something children are born with. We have to make a conscious effort to teach children how to behave at a friend's home, how to behave at a table, daily challenges. All the things, these are things that need to be talked about at home so that children can learn about it. Another resource that I have is, since I have 4 girls, I have the American Girl, the Feelings book. And this is all about dealing with their emotions. And it gives them exercises and tactics on how to deal with those tough emotions that everyone deals with. And if you can find one like this for boys, it would be great as well. And then I have this book, and this is Manners and Tips for Caring Children based on the Fruit of the Spirit. So this is going to be teaching children about the fruits of the Spirit, virtues. Virtues such as love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control, and gentleness. And it has, so you go through it, we started using it last year. And it just had, the way that it just asks them questions and answers, and the way that it breaks down each virtue, I'm really loving this book. And the last resource that I have here is Healing Stories. So I observe my children, and I observe them, and I know what they are dealing with on a daily basis. And then I look for stories that are going to help them. So this particular book has stories about different things that children may be going through, such as being lazy, irritating or impatient, noisy or disruptive, pinching, hurting, fighting, shy, introverted, teasing, bullying, uncooperative, wild, restless, tidy up time, fear or nightmares. So you just have to see what is that your child needs help with. Maybe they're grieving something. They've lost something. These are healing stories for challenging behavior that we've been using for years and we love. Here we have Everyday Graces. It's just another book as well to teach children about honoring your father and your mother, helping out at home, please and thank you, kind words, taming the tongue, telling the truth, just stories. Just stories. A great way to teach children is through stories. And I have other books that I also use for this, and I can make a whole video on faith and character, guys, because this is big. I am so big on this, and I could talk about this for an hour, but I'm going to just give it a break here. If you want me to make a whole video on faith and character, I will, because I think it's a very important topic for parents to really dive into. Okay, so the next one I have here is electives. So this year, my children for electives are doing sewing, pottery, poetry tea time, art, and cooking. So every day of the week, they're doing something different. So like Monday could be sewing, Tuesday pottery, Wednesday poetry tea time, Thursday art, Friday cooking. Here are some of the resources that I'm using for these. Here's one. This is Just Mom and Me Having Tea. And so this is a different activities. It's a fun Bible study for mothers and daughters while they're having tea. And it has different little activities. And here's my little bunny again. He loves being around me. And then I'm using different poem books in our poetry tea time. So for poetry tea time, I'm setting the table. I'm setting the table really nice with a pretty cloth, and I'm laying down a tea set, and I'm getting the girls in dresses. I'm putting a dress on. I'm making a really fancy once a week. And then I'm reading poems. A Child's Book of Poems, American Children's Poems, A Child's Garden of Verses, and there's so many poem books that you can find at the library as well. All right, moving on to art. Here we have Discovering Great Artists, and the kids are going to be making a portfolio, learning about these artists this year. They're going to be doing one a week. So basically, the way it works is that you read to them a little paragraph about the artist, and then it gives them an activity so that they can produce something that the artist would have drawn. So here we have Leonardo da Vinci, and then here we have the drawing that they're going to be doing. It has a paragraph about the artist and then the activity that they're going to be doing. I like it that it shows the end result so that they can see what they're going to be doing. So they're going to be doing a portfolio of all these things. And then at the end of the year, they're going to have approximately 20 drawings from these great artists. And then the last one that I have here is food. 25 amazing projects investigate the history of science and what we eat. So again, once a week, we are teaching the children to make different meals. This is just one of the books that we are going to be using. Gives them the history about food and different experiments that they can try with food. So there you got it. I'm sorry that I'm going fast, guys, but I'm trying to make this video as short as possible for you guys. So there you got it. That's our electives. So now the last thing that we have here is our read-alouds. And we divided it into fiction and nonfiction. So let me pull it over here. So these are our fiction books. These are the novels that we're reading this year. So we are reading, let me get a little closer. So we're reading The Boxcar Children, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The Hobbit, Hatchet, Anne of Green Gables, and The Secret Garden. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 fiction books that we are reading this year. And the way that we're going to dive deep is that we are using these novel ties. And this is a study guide for each of these books. So we are going to be diving into questions. And it has activities and questions for each of the chapters. So that's the way we're going to study literature is by reading these classics and then using these novel ties. I'm going to link below where I got these novel ties. It has them for each of the books that I have here. And I think the children are really going to enjoy it. We're going to do this all together. No matter the age, I'm going to just make it easy or hard depending on the child's level. And that is how we're doing our fiction read-alouds. Now let's move on to our nonfiction. And these are important people that I want the children to learn about this year. So here we have Betsy Ross and the American flag, Pocahontas, Amelia Earhart, the story of Thomas Jefferson, who was Martin Luther King Jr., the story of Anne Frank, who was Abigail Adams, who was Helen Keller, the story of Abraham Lincoln, the story of Benjamin Franklin, who was Rosa Parks, what was the Underground Railroad. And then, once we finish reading all of these, we're going to be jumping into a few of these stories of great Americans for little Americans. So these are stories of great Americans, and I'm going to look through them and to see which will be age appropriate for my girls, and just pulling from here different stories that I'm going to be reading as well. So there you've got it. You have our fiction, our nonfiction, and then we have our family subjects. Again, our family subjects are not all done every single day. They are rotated, and we do a little bit each day. As if they were in regular school, we rotate these out, and there's a schedule. I will be sharing with you the schedule if you want me to, and I can share with you a breakdown of our schedule and how we do all these. If you want to see the individual subjects that my children are doing for reading, writing, and math, I will link the video below because we're using the same resources this year again. And I didn't want to have to make the same video again, but I'm using the same resources. So I'm going to link below that video so that you can see what they're using individually for their subjects. If you haven't already subscribed, please do, and click on the notification bell so you never miss a video. And don't forget to subscribe to my email list if you haven't done so already. I have some amazing videos coming for you guys. I know that a lot of you are still going to continue homeschooling and you have so many questions, and August is a big month, so I am working extra hard to put more videos out for you guys. I have a lot coming, so please stay tuned. Until next time, bye.